One of the most common questions I receive, and it makes sense to be honest, and one of the things that we are all probably the most curious about. And if we ever get to meet like a really successful person, a person that has really achieved the things that we might secretly been striving for in our career, in our business, in our private life, it really doesn't matter. That would probably the number one question we would all ask, right? Like, what made you so successful? What is the number one recommendation you would give to your younger self if you were just starting out? Like, what would you recommend? And one of the things you will probably or most definitely hear is believe in yourself. Like, no matter what everybody else around you is going to be telling you about what you can achieve and what you cannot achieve, especially don't believe it. Believe in yourself. Like, you are your most important asset. You have to take that bet on yourself. And then number two, and I guarantee that's what everybody is going to tell you. And that is actually the most important component to any kind of success. And I mean it. Like, while success is different for every person, doesn't matter whether we're talking about your career, your business, your private life, it really doesn't matter. If you want to achieve a certain level, a certain lifestyle, a certain kind of success, those numbers, those figures, those sales figures, okay? There is this one thing you have to nail that without just any kind of breaks. You have to nail that, which is, drum roll please, which is consistency. Hi, if you're new around here and I get to welcome you for the very first time, I'm Catherine Louise. I'm a business and life coach and communication trainer, and I run this show. I'm the host of the podcast You Can and You Will, and I specifically named my podcast that title because I know for a fact that you can and inevitably, yes, you will achieve anything you put your mind into when you have the right tools, right? Like, you can do anything. You just have to actually know how to go about it. And that's what I'm here for. This is why I'm creating this podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to not miss out any future episode. If you're listening to this podcast on your most favorite podcast platform, please make sure to hit that follow button to not miss out any future episode. I would love for you to leave a 5-star review. That will help my podcast grow so much. And obviously, share any episodes with your friends, family, coworkers that you feel like should really be listening to this. So, I really want to talk about consistency because it is the number one secret sauce, like the sweet sauce, like the secret sauce to any kind of success, really. And it is surprising how even people who have already somewhat made it, but yet are striving for bigger things, bigger figures, bigger careers, building bigger companies, you will already know that it comes all down to consistency. Consistency is so important. So, what does consistency actually mean to begin with? Let's clarify that. Consistency means that you do something on a regular basis over and over again. And that sounds so logical, right? You will have to implement consistency in any kind of business that you do. Otherwise, it's just going to be a hobby. Let's be honest. Like, when you are not able or willing, or maybe haven't even thought about putting that work in consistently on a consistent basis, you're going to have a problem, because in order to create any kind of business career, you will need to have that consistency, especially when you work with customers, when you work with clients, when you work with social media. Like, to me, social media, my podcast, my YouTube, my TikTok, I obviously love it because this is how I can like provide you with the tools that you need. I can, really share teachings and make sure that people can grow and learn and reach their goals. However, if I'm not putting things out consistently, How are people able to find me? How are people, and this is the most important thing about when it comes to customers, clients, and your business, this is the only way you can generate trust, how you can build trust. If you're, let's say, putting stuff out, commercials, any kind of content really once in a while, and then you disappear, not only are you not going to be able to really grow, but also people are not being able to trust you. And the number one thing when it comes to consumers, clients, customers is you really want to generate that trust. And then also obviously deliver upon that. But first of all, you need to create trust. I think in this day and age, when it comes to, we're like all being flooded with content, with anything. I mean, like our phone is buzzing and doing all the things 24/7. You really want to make sure you create a space where people feel warm and welcome and, really trust to receive what they came for. In order for that, you have to stay consistent. In order to build a successful team, in order to build a team where people who are really genius in their fields deliver and really show up for you and do their best, you will have to provide whatever they need, leadership and trust again, and build that platform for that team to grow and expand and be in their A game. You have to show up consistently as a leader specifically. Like if you cannot be available for the people that you actually lead consistently, you're going to have a problem. Like one of the core skills you need to have as a leader, as a amazing leader, as a good leader, as a leader that people trust, is you will have to build that consistency. You have to be there for them consistently. You see, like, on how many different areas in business, in career, consistency is just everything. And you can't fail. You can't miss on consistency because you're going to have the results for that failing probably immediately. And that's exactly what we want to avoid. So, talking about how crucial consistency is, I already know some of us be like, okay, but how is that even possible? Like, life tends to hit differently. Life sometimes is, in professional life and private life, obviously, that might interfere at times, and that being consistent really can be very, very difficult. I think we've all been there. And this is where habits come into play. This is where preparations come into play. So when my clients come to me and be like, okay, so you're talking about how crucial consistency is, like, tell me how the heck can I be consistent in honestly just about everything, especially when life is playing a bit of a different song. And this is where preparation comes into play. Like, make sure to prep any step you can in advance. So now, creating a schedule and how to make sure you can be consistent in the long run and how to prep for that, that will have to be a whole different episode. Please make sure to put it down in the comments when you have specific questions about that. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, I'm just like laughing because my little dog, she's right. She's sitting next to me the whole entire time. We're like, Mommy, what are you doing? So she wants to be a part of the episode. She is consistently here. That will also have to count as being consistent. Going too much into detail on how you can create a schedule like that will be too much for this episode now. However, I do want to give away and recommend batch creating. So, for instance, when it comes to any kind of content that you put out there for your marketing department, for, social media department, whatever really, make sure you batch create so you can deliver in the long run. So you can make sure that you already have the content for the long run, and then also always produce ahead, like for a long period of time. For instance, there are like so many entrepreneurs and leaders right now who are on LinkedIn 24/7. They put out so much content, and we already know they have people doing that for them. Like, do not think that manager or CEO or whatever are writing all of their content, their copyright themselves. Most probably not, right? So make sure you produce content ahead of time, the topics, what you want to talk about, what you want to share, the pictures, like all of the things. Make sure you produce that ahead. When it comes to leading a team, when it comes to leaders, what do you what do you want to provide your team with? What do you want to provide the people that you're working with to make sure you are a leader? Are there parts that you can prep ahead to be sort of like ahead of time? Make sure to really build in the appointments, the single meetings that you're going to have with your team. Make sure to have that a standard. Make sure to make this a no-brainer. Make sure to schedule in everything that you already know you're going to have to do consistently, so everything else will have to work around that. You see where I'm coming from. And let's say you're scheduling in those one-on-ones, which are really crucial, but you're going to be on a business trip, which is probably going to happen very frequently. Make sure you can accept those calls, maybe even online, right? You can do a Google Meet, you can do a Zoom Meet. You already know what you prefer. So make sure you show the people you are leading, no matter where you are, they are a priority. People will realize that. And having that kind of backup, that sounding board on a consistent basis, that is going to create trust on such a bigger level, because people will feel seen and heard on a whole different level. So make sure to really build a schedule that is made for delivering consistently, no matter what field we're talking about. Now, let's talk about the fact that being consistent requires some kind of a mindset shift, especially if you haven't been there before, which is not bad. Don't worry. This is why we're here. This is what we're working on right now. So this mindset shift will actually require from you to not only take whatever you're trying to be consistent in much more serious, but, and you would be surprised to be honest, but also to take even more of a bet on yourself, to appreciate yourself enough to allow yourself to be consistent. And you might wonder, like, ouch, how is me being consistent as a leader showing up for myself? Well, because I know you're trying to be this and that person, right? We are all trying to improve on ourselves, to improve on how we show up, to improve on our leadership skills. In this case, let's stick with this example. So you want to be that person, allow yourself to be that person. Most of the times it's like we're so stressed out in the hustle of the bustle of the days. You know where I'm coming from, that we don't allow ourselves or give ourselves that room and space. I know that deep down inside, this one is going to hit with you. So give yourself that space and allow yourself seeing the importance of being consistent. And ask yourself, how is that going to make you show up in the world as a leader, as a, in your marketing? And remember, your marketing, your whatever content you're putting out as a CEO on LinkedIn, oh, really business person, whatever, when you show up in the world, you are putting yourself out. And this is what consistency is about. How do you show up and how frequently? Being consistent by no means means having to do something on a daily basis. It obviously depends on what you want to create consistency in or for. However, being consistent can also mean doing something once a month, but please do once a month on a regular basis. So obviously, if we're talking about marketing, you don't want to just do once a month. But also, really allow yourself that space to show up for yourself consistently and create a schedule that allows you to be consistent. This title that we have for this episode, From Chaos to Consistency, Your Blueprint for Success, I truly love it because honestly, when you're just stressed out, chances are everything around you, your schedule, your business, whatever, is at least in some shape or form chaotic, and this is what you want to avoid. Like, this is not a good energy. This is not how we can expand and grow. No business, no person, no self-development, no, nothing is going to grow in chaos. So consistency also allows you to do that, to grow, to expand, and to actually reach for new goals. Chaos is going to keep you in the space you're at right now. I truly love talking about this topic because I know how much of a difference it can make for you, for your life, for your career, for your business, for the people you're working with. And people oftentimes consider consistency as somewhat of a burden when it's really not, and it's supposed to be helpful. So if you would like to learn more about me and what I do, please make sure to check out my website, catherinelouise.com. You're going to find the link down below. By the way, I also have a goodie for you. It's a free audio training with me. I know you're going to be obsessed. I know you're going to love it so much because it's an audio training on how to double your productivity and save at least 2 hours of work time this week. Yes, it's possible. Just check it out and let me know how you've been loving it. Thank you so much for listening and for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.